I've heard you say the quote, hope is not a strategy. And then you argue, no, hope is a strategy. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that. Cause I love your approach to this. I think it's so unusual that I want to make sure I understand it and capture it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a quote that's thrown out a lot. Hope isn't a strategy. I probably hear it at least annually. And we argue that the science of hope, when you really look at the anatomy of what is hope, and we are very pro virtue driven leadership. I mean, of course, values, but at the end of the day, character is what matters most. Bringing a sense of urgency and integrity and courage to the challenge of work. And it's challenging. I mean, it really is. It's like Hunger Games out there. And so hope, the anatomy of hope is the convergence of facing the pain of today with the possibility of tomorrow. And so when you see hope in a person's life or a team or an organization, they're facing the reality of the pain of today, but they're holding fast to the hope that things can be made better. We can bring change. And so that's really the essence of strategy, being real about our current reality, but also being honest and sober. Hey, we can change. We can make a difference, whether that's operations or finance or HR or with the customer or internally with our people or with what's happening in an accelerated economy. Let's be real about where we're at and let's be real about change.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I guess that wasn't my last question. I do have one more question for you, which is if I'm a leader and I'm listening to this podcast and I do want to take the next step to improve my leadership, whether it's my leadership rhythms or cadence or whatever, like what is your practical next step advice for me as a listener?
Yeah, I think as a leader, our work always begins with self awareness. And so you can think of like a continuum of self awareness feeds self leadership. Other awareness feeds other leadership. Team awareness feeds team leadership. Company awareness, it's what a lot of executives are asking for right now. I need people that see the big picture, not just zero in on their function. And so company awareness feeds company leadership. And ultimately, where we want to lead companies is not just company or customer awareness, it's market awareness. Are you aware of what's happening in the market? The world is changing at an accelerated pace. We are experiencing a technology that's unlike any technology that generations have experienced in AI and machine learning. And so, are you aware of what's happening in the market? And so, it's great that you understand what's happening with your customer, but your customer's in a market that is dramatically changing. I'm sure there's things that are not going to change, but things are changing. And so, that beginning is that self awareness, and leading self is critical, and we never move beyond it. It's not like you mature out of self awareness and then move to self leadership and you're done. You've graduated. That is a lifelong journey, whether in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, or 70s. The journey of self awareness and self discovery never really ends.